Tamil National Alliance held an election propaganda rally in Kanadarayankulam, Vavuniya yesterday.
What did the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights say when she visited the country? When she toured the north, she said that the military deployed here must be removed as soon as possible. She pointed out that the Tamil people receive no benefit from the army being here. The first thing that we will do after winning this election is to develop our areas, bring progress to our villages and give our people an opportunity to stand on their own 2 feet. The government thinks that we do not have ownership over the land in this province. The Tamil people in the north and east have all the rights in this country. Today the army is preparing to remove the environment where we can live as a majority here. The Indo-Lanka Accord was an important agreement reached between the two countries. We cannot bring forth laws that we want and reduce the powers of the provincial councils. India will not accept it. Although the government took efforts to introduce such legislation, these efforts were abandoned. Under the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the provincial councils are vested with land and police powers. As a result of the major endeavour undertaken by the Tamil National Alliance, this was spoken about internationally. As a result of pressure from India and the international community, the effort to dilute the powers of provincial councils was abandoned. Thereby, today the provincial councils have these rights.
UPFA Northern Provincial Council candidate Geethanjali Naguleshwaran says that the people of the north are currently engaged in a struggle to live.
She made this remark at a rally held in Kilinochchi.
People in every household in the north are facing some kind of bereavement. Sometimes members of their family may be dead. In certain instances, their family members have been imprisoned. Some have disappeared and others are disabled. Some have been referred for rehabilitation. But today, we are engaged in a struggle to live. In this struggle, our women are facing immense pressure. 60% of the people in the northern province are women. Therefore, we need a solution.
Candidates of the Citizens Front who are contesting the Central Provincial Council poll from the Nuwara district under the symbol of the Mamati signed an agreement yesterday.
Candidates signed an agreement before the party's General Secretary, Parliamentarian J. Sri Ranga and lawyers that they would not cross over to the government and abandon the party for any reason.
And up next is Action TV.
This individual can be identified as a person who has followed to the letter orders issued by the Elections Commissioner to public officials to ensure a free and fair election at the Provincial Council polls. This individual, who serves as the principal at the Savarana Muslim Vidyalaya in Maravela, Chilau, lodged a complaint with the Chilau police on the 9th of this month, claiming that a candidate for the Northwestern Provincial Council election had entered the school premises the previous day without his permission and engaged in campaigning activity violating election laws. Several days after the incident, during an election campaign rally held near this individual's residence, several persons began to level allegations against him for lodging a complaint with the police. Doctors affirmed today that being made to listen to these rantings and ravings may have caused damage to this principal's eardrum. However, it is not the rantings and ravings that are to blame for the splitting of his eardrum.
I was assaulted out of spite. I didn't assault or do any injustice by the student. I only took mine action for a mistake done by the child.
However, it is not the ranting and ravings that are to blame for the splitting of his eardrum. According to the principal, the individual who arrived at the school during school hours yesterday and assaulted him is the person who acted as the master of ceremonies at the election rally held near his house, where persons raved against him. However, the first complaint regarding this incident was lodged at the police by the Samurdhi Bank official who the principal accuses of having been assaulted by.
My child studies at the Savarana Muslim Vidyalaya. He told me to come to see him, but when I went, I saw my child removing grass and putting it into a pink dustbin. I took my child and lodged a complaint with the police.
Regardless, this morning a number of students and teachers at the school attested to the truth of the principal's version of events. Is the law not being enforced in this case because the principal's complaint was lodged second? Senior DIG of Police in the Northwestern Province, this is over to you.
Nelson Mandela, Nobel laureate, South African anti-apartheid revolutionary and politician, served as its president from 1994 to 1999.
He was the first black South African to hold office as president. Tonight on Words of Wisdom, we feature the words of Nelson Mandela.
We must use time wisely and forever realize that the time is always ripe to do right. Nelson Mandela, former South African president.
The Sri Lanka Customs Department has taken measures to simplify the customs clearance process. That's
right, Nicola. Now, the Customs Department says that under the new program, the documents necessary and the duration for clearing goods through customs will be greatly reduced.
Customs media spokesperson, Customs Director Leslie Garmany said the new program would come into effect today. Under the first phase, the program will be in effect for selected importers, while the department expects to broaden the importer base in the near future. The Customs media spokesperson added that under the new program, tasks which would have required importers to meet with several customs officials can now be accomplished through a single official.
On to news from the courts. Court granted permission today for the advertising of products of Fonterra Brands Lanka.
The court issued this order after reconsidering an interim injunction against the advertising of Fonterra products.
Court also ordered that the company refrain from using the term 100% perfect in its advertising campaigns. In addition, court also ordered that a copy of the court order be sent to the Consumer Affairs Authority to prepare a process which will enforce this order for all milk powder manufacturers. The petition was reconsidered today before a bench comprising of the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Sri Skandaraja, and Justice Malini Gunaratna. The petition is due to be taken up again on the 14th of October. Attorneys at law Sanjay Jayawardena and Manoj Bandara represented Fonterra Brands Lanka in court today on the instruction of the law firm Sudat Pereira Associates.
The former leader of the LTTE's armed cadre in Trincomalee, Sivasubramaniam Vardhanandan, alias Padman, was acquitted of all charges today by the Trincomalee High Court.
He was acquitted of all charges filed against him by the Terrorism Investigation Department. Sivasubramaniam Vardhanandan, alias Paduman, who was a resident of College Road in Trincomalee, had been imprisoned in the Vanni for operating in the east against the late leader of the LTTE, Velupillai Prabhakaran. It was during the Vanni humanitarian mission that he arrived with civilians and surrendered to the security forces after proving his identity. Under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, Paduman was charged with carrying out attacks on military encampments and killing soldiers between July 2001 to December the same year, where he functioned as the LTTE's leader in Palampatar, Trincomalee. The charges filed against him were heard at the Trincomalee High Court for 2 years, and he was acquitted today by Trincomalee High Court Judge R.A. Ranaraja. Judge Ranaraja noted that charges against the suspect had been filed following a confession made by him and that there were weaknesses in presenting the case, hence the decision to grant an acquittal. State Counsel Sugandhi Kandasamy represented the TID in this case. 5 petitions filed challenging the election manifesto of the Tamil National Alliance was taken up at the Supreme Court today.
Now, at the hearing, notices were issued on TNA Parliamentary Group Leader R. Sambandhan and MP Mave Senadiraja to appear before court. The Supreme Court also issued notices on the Elections Commissioner and the Attorney General, who are also cited as respondents in these petitions.
Let's take a look.
The petitions were taken up before a bench comprising of Chief Justice Mohan Piris and Supreme Court Justices K. Sri Pavan and Rohini Marasinghe. The petitions filed by 5 persons, including Venerable Bengamu Nalaka Thero and Dr. Gunadas Amarasekara, point out that the election manifesto of the TNA has intentions of a separate state. Supreme Court today decided to take up the petition again on the 2nd of October and issued notices for the respondents to be present in court on that date.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the United National Party and the Democratic Party convened media briefings in Colombo today to explain their stances on the upcoming provincial council polls.
The government is threatening the people in the north. We see these influences and threats in the northwestern and central provinces as well. Expecting a free and fair election is a dream. We continue to see the manner in which the government is using state resources such as vehicles and helicopters. We see how election laws are violated. Even the election observers have found evidence of these violations.
මතක සංවර්ධන සේවා කටයුතු නතර කරගෙන ඉන්න බෑ. ඒවා නියමිත ආකාරයට කරගෙන යන්න. මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්තුමාට
Development cannot be halted merely because there is an election. It will continue. The Elections Commissioner has the power to prevent state sponsorship for election games. We have not violated a single decision made by the Elections Commissioner. The government has a keen interest in conducting a free and fair election.
නිදහස් මැතිවරණයක් හැටියට පවත්වාගෙන යාම ගැන ආණ්ඩුවට ලොකු උනන්දුවක් තියෙනවා.
ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂයේ යම් කෙනෙක් මෙවැනි බොරු
Someone in the ruling party is printing false samples of ballot papers and distributing it to the provinces. Here it says that the symbol of the Eksat Lanka Mahasabha is the swan. Our symbol, the torch, has been placed before the Muslim Liberation Front. The need for an independent election commission is highlighted through these acts.
And on sports news tonight, organisers of the Champions League T20 tournament, which is currently underway in India, have rejected the inclusion of spinner Rangana Herath in the Kandurata Maroons team. Now this is because of the lack of evidence to prove that Rangana Herath is in fact a member of the Kandurata team.
A statement issued by Sri Lanka Cricket also makes note of this fact. What is the background to this story?
On the Inside Sports program telecast on Sirasa TV last Monday night, a sports journalist, Chamila Karavita, questioned the chairman of the national selectors, Sanat Jayasuriya, on Rangana Herath's selection to the Kandurata Maroons.
Rangana Herath has been suddenly included in the team as a left-arm spinner. How did you select someone like Rangana Herath, who represents the northern team, for the Kandurata Maroons? Rangana Herath did not represent any team. He did not participate in the 4-team tournaments held in Sri Lanka. We kept him on standby without selecting him for any of the teams as we wanted him to rest.
In the 4-team tournament that was held in Sri Lanka to qualify for the Champions League T20 tournament, Rangana Herath was included in the northern team captained by Dinesh Chandimal. However, Herath had been called to the Kandurata Maroons, which left for India recently for the Champions League T20.
It is coming to light that a single group who have been appointed are now getting together and destroying cricket. Inconveniencing a valuable player such as Rangana Herath at the Champions League is a disappointing situation. I do not think we should remain silent. Sri Lanka cricket should clearly bear the responsibility when he is sent back to the island.
Well, that's all the news we have for you for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Nicola De Zoiza.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Good night and good luck.
First at 9.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.